to get credit for herself when they were little, and they are not able to do it. So we have that going on. We have the Sunday church services, the JLP radio show. We have the FatherState.tv, the counseling service. And we counsel with people around the world, either by Skype or by the phone. We help find jobs. You name it, we do it. It's so amazing. You can continue to support us by going to rebuildingtheman.com. Rebuildingtheman.com. Some of you know we have, under my nonprofit bond, the Brotherhood Organization of a New Destiny. And we have been rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. We have a home for young men. We tutor, we counsel, we help find jobs. We have church services. We have men's forums the first Thursday night of every month. We also have women's forum the third Thursday night of every month. And Sunday morning meetings for everybody, men, women, and children, everybody. And it's growing. It's growing. So, and for those who have stuck in there, they're doing amazing things. Those who want quick fix, they're not, right? Everything is a growing thing. You grow into love, you grow into life, you grow into wealth, you grow into everything, right? So check us out on rebuildingtheman.com, rebuildingtheman.com, all right? Or call 800-411-BOND. I noticed after a while that when these guys overcome their anger, they have amazing ideas about starting a business, but because they've been told that if you don't get a loan from the bank, or if you don't have a 5-year plan, or if you don't do this, and it's just simply not true. It's the first step. With faith, then all things are possible. So, but the most important thing is to return to the Father. That yearning that you have, that emptiness, that void, is not for more stuff. It's not for more friends. It is a return to the Father. Because there's no way you can return to God and be angry at your earthly father. So thank you all so much, right? People around the world donated to Bond at rebuildingtheman.com, or they call 800-411-2663. And we're still committed to pointing the right way for men and women to return to the Father. Isn't he Mexican?
Colombian.
He calls himself American.
What is this?
Anchor Baby.
And in this corner, it's the American Anchor Baby.
Daddy's home. That's an offensive term. People find that hurtful.
You mean it's not politically correct? Excuse me. I'll use the word anchor baby. You know, he's an anchor baby in Canada.
Tell him we still rolling with Trump, too.
Anchor baby, the whole thing sounds horrific. You're just making it sound like immigrants are these horrific, greedy people.
Ustedes pueden aceptar mi negocio o aceptar las consecuencias. Plata o plomo.
So you would be considered white, in my opinion.
You the blackest one in this room,
I think so.
And what happened was his mama got pregnant on the other side of the border, and then a few hours before, just before it was time for him to pop out, she jumped across the border and let him fall on American soil. So he became the anchor baby. They don't call him the anchor baby for nothing. Amazing.
We like this anchor baby, right?
Hello, I'm the American Anchor Baby, and this is my show. How you doing, folks? Appreciate you tuning in, rolling in from Joel's chat. Very nice. Thank you. Anchor Baby in Canada. It's a pleasure. How's your Tuesday going? Thanks for tuning in. Like I said, I got a couple things on my mind. I got the Elder Peterson West Swain Kane shirt on. Uncle Tom. I might mention MLK today, actually. Martin Luther King, the civil rights leader. might say things that are not so positive. I know spicy. That's a joke. I'm a Johnny come lately. You know, I'm enjoying the new, shall I say, the Overton window changing with that film, Uncle Tom, which Jesse Lee Peterson stars in, by the way. Uncle Tom documentary, Chad Jackson. A little stolen valor, but we might mention MLK, little civil rights for you. But, yeah, I mean, there's a... Look, I'll get into it here in a moment. But give me a second here. Just give me a second. I just sat down. And it's nice to see you. Plata or Diddy? What the? What's up, Peter R? Welcome. Appreciate you being in the chat. Just turning on my Rumble. What's up? Because I am on Rumble. Rumble.com/American Anchor Baby. DLive.tv/Gorgonzola. And I want to say hi to everybody here. Because I do appreciate it, folks. There's fascism in Italy. Look, we're going to get into this. What's up, Karen? How you doing, Karen? I like the way you say Rumble. Chris, Jose, Jessica, Matthew, how's everybody? Obvious Globe, obviously. Appreciate it. Great shows today on the Bond Network. If you don't know, you got to tune in. What have you been doing? But it's Anchor Baby now, and there's fascism in Italy. Il fascismo? Whoa. Am I getting into it now? Hold on. What's chat saying? Yes, we're getting into it. Fascismo in Italy, folks. I'm going to need your attention. Your attention and your eyes. I know it's lunchtime for some of you, but your attention and your eyes to the screen, please. Fascismo in Italy. What? Somebody stop them. I'm seeing, are those double Romans? What is that? What are those? Are those, I've never seen two hands up. I mean, sometimes I've seen two hands up, but like maybe as a joke. But is that real? Thanks, little Nick. Is that real? Is that real? Fascismo? Il fascismo in Italia. Qualcuno chiama il Papa. Somebody call the Pope. Il Papa. Also, potato in Spanish. The potato. Il Papa. Outrage in Italy. Now, you know, this video may not be what the outrage is about. I was on Twitter. I was fed this video. But underneath the video was the link to, you know, the actual news. Because I don't know where this exact video is from. So I'm just reporting accurately here. I was on Twitter. I saw this video. But under this video I just showed you was the news. It was posted with this image. Now, those look like the Romans that I'm used to. And don't read into that. That's, you know, don't. Look, that we're all used to. That's the news here. We got some Italians with the Italian flags. You know, sometimes they don't look too white, but they're looking rather white today. Looking quite white. No, I'm messing around. Italy. Fascismo in Italy. Outrage in Italy. This is NBC News. Outrage in Italy after hundreds give fascist salute at a rally in Rome. There was... maybe it's for Rome. Maybe these are just salutes for Rome. I don't know what I'm talking about. There was shock and outrage in Italy on Tuesday, days after hundreds of people gave a fascist salute at a rally in Rome, sparking widespread condemnation and calls for the country's far-right leader to take action. The far-right leader of Italy? That Meloni woman? See, this is media crap, so you always got to be careful with what you're hearing, seeing, and reading, even from the Anchor Baby. Maybe especially from the Anchor Baby. But they're calling it far-right, so you got to be careful with media tricks. On this whole far right, the rise of far right. Let's see if we can make sense of this. Meloni came to power in 2022 as Italy's first female prime minister at the head of a coalition, giving the country its most right-wing government since World War II. Oh, dang. Giorgia Meloni, Prime Minister of Italy. The most right-wing since World War II? You mean when the Nazis were around? It's the return of Mussolini. It's the return of Mussolini. Thanks, Nick. This is Mussolini. What do I got to tell you? The media's saying it. It's right there. Obviously, sarcasm. We're joking around, but it's such crap. This woman felt bad for immigrants. You remember they got a problem in Italy. They're not staying Italy. You know what I mean? You change the people, you change the nation. Especially if you do it fast like that. And I don't even know if you can do it slow, but look, such crap. Okay, she felt bad for these immigrants who were in the boats and getting themselves in that situation, really. And you could have some humanitarian, you could have some heart, do some humanitarian action, don't not let them die. But here's what happens: these people get in these dinky little boats, dinky little boats, dinky little dinghies. Don't say dinky, kids. The boat gets into the sea. They get into issues, and these NGOs come and save them and bring them the rest of the way. And so this is your far right leader, is what I'm trying to point out. This female prime minister. They're saying the first female prime minister at the head of a coalition, giving the country its most right. She is the first woman anything. That's not far right. Let me just remind you there. There's far right for you. The people in the video stand in at least a dozen rows, and when prompted by a voice shouting outside the frame, raise their right arms in a salute that dates to the regime of Benito Mussolini, Italy's fascist dictator. Il Duce. Il Duce. Which means also shower, no? Doesn't Duce mean shower? In another language? Il Duce, the Duke. Benito Mussolini. Oh, or douche in Francais. Il douche. No dictator disrespect here. We're just messing around. Only justified disrespect. But okay, we're messing around. I'm showing you the video. I'm reading the NBC News article. They got the fascists out there. The media's putting their spin on it. We're being careful. And then I read this part here in the same article here about why these people are out there, why these people in Italy are out there. The 𝒂𝒐𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔 killings, as they're known, are marked annually. But this year's public display and an apparent lack of police intervention has prompted criticism from opposition lawmakers. So they're saying this happens every year. It's just all of a sudden this is big news, right? Big news. They go out there and they commemorate and stand for these, to remember these killings. And reading from Wikipedia now, the 𝒂𝒂𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔 killings, known in Italy as the 𝒂𝒂𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔 massacre. My internal bells are going off, but maybe I'm judging. But you know what I mean? When they call such events like massacres, especially when they were called killings. But anyways, this was a double homicide that occurred in Rome the 7th of January, 1978, some time ago. The attack was claimed by the self-described armed nuclei for territorial counterpower, nuclei armati per il contropotere territoriali. Sorry, I like doing that. You have to just deal with it. Members of militant far-left groups were charged but acquitted. So this was the far left and the far right fighting. And what looks like what seems to be, according to Wikipedia, a unjust killing, an ambushing and a killing of some of these far right members of this far right group. Okay, that's what Wikipedia says. And so they're out there, which is kind of an old thing, right? 1978. You wonder. Anyway, let me just paint this picture a little bit. They're out there for this, and they got the media attention. Okay, so remember that. This will be important. So this article talks about Meloni, this prime minister of Italy. She praised Mussolini in her youth, but has since changed her stance and said there was no space in her party for nostalgia for fascism, racism, or anti-Semitism. And it's an interesting sentence. And because these things in my readings, I find that these are all things that happened way before me, right? I don't have a dog in the fight. I feel no ways about it. So when I read these things, it seems quite clear to me that none of this happens in a vacuum. What I mean by that is the same way there's this knee-jerk reaction, a recoil in horror to a woman being hit by her husband, and then we can all agree is evil. There's probably, even if there's a good reason or something, understand me, what I'm trying to say is that it's probably born out of anger. Let's be real. If you had to go to that. Not all cases, but what I'm trying to point out here is, even though we recoil in horror to that, and that's obvious and that's easy to understand, the one who really wants to understand would simply ask, why did he hit you? And you would ask the same to the man, right? Why did you hit her? That would be your only question. You see what I'm trying to say here? There's a response, there's a cause and effect in a sense. With the staying out of any moral judgment on situations in life. That's what you would ask, right? Okay. And I think it's quite likely she believes this false racism crap. I think this is the cause and effect of the world we live in. The great world wars happened. The Europeans felt bad, and it was drilled into the schools, and it's how it goes down. And there's people not happy with things going on right now. They're quite mad, in fact. And some say it's a response, it's a reaction. But even a reaction it can be in its face, in its most shallow sense, noble. But dang, life is a little deeper than that when you have the luxury or the privilege of looking at situations from the outside. Hopefully you're understanding me. Maybe you don't. Maybe this will make you understand. Maybe you'll understand with this. Maybe this will make you understand. You don't quite understand. I'm trying to do like a Joker thing. Look, you don't quite understand, do you? Watch this.
I don't understand why this is even a hard choice, really. I don't understand it. Yeah. But we have to go through the election, and hopefully people will realize what's at stake, because it's an existential question. What kind of country we're going to have, what kind of democracy we're going to have, and people who blow that off are not paying attention.
What? You don't understand? Hilary Clinton. Hilary, beautiful, beautiful Hilary, says she doesn't understand how it can even be a question. What's going on here? She's talking about 2024. This was recent.
I don't understand why this is even a hard choice, really. I don't understand it. Yeah. But we have to go through the election, and hopefully people will realize what's at stake.
Will realize what's at stake. Oh, thanks, Hilary. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. Maybe they'll realize what's at stake. Boom. She's talking about the election upcoming with Trump. You know what's going down. You know what's happening. It's, in a sense, she's right. It's existential, maybe. I'll say this. It's in my lifetime, which, maybe not that many elections under my belt. The only one I voted in was Trump. That being said, it seems like life, media, the zeitgeist, the cultural zeitgeist, I don't know, has never been quite like this. So diametric. You know what I'm saying? So opposed. So two sides delineated. Sometimes nebulously, but other times quite clear, at least in their hate of each other. Maybe you don't understand what I'm trying to say here, but look, Hillary Clinton doesn't understand. She's right that this is more important than people make it out to be, people not paying attention. Not that everybody should worry their pretty little heads over politics, but listen, the Democrats know this very, very real threat to the whole order that Trump is. And her saying that people not paying attention and they're not serious is a call to that. But, you know, I see these Italians with their hands raised, and they were there for the 𝒂𝒊𝒂𝒍� killings, right? And you got to understand, this group is like they call it neo-fascist, a call to more racist times, Mussolini, the fascist. And although they may have had anger, they may have had problems, they were still people who, at least Mussolini, talking about one man at least, let's try and make this clear, was a person that arrived to what he was talking about. Look, what I'm trying to say is that they saw a threat, maybe, with diversity, with whatever problem. Look, I'm just trying to describe something here. That when I see these guys, I don't see what the media says they see. I don't see veins bulging, that they want to kill these people. They want to kill these minorities. And some may have anger, by the way. Obviously, probably all do. 99% of people. Let's think about that for a second. And that makes you evil. But okay, I'm just saying that I don't see what the media is saying. I don't see those guys veins bulging. They want to kill. I think many, because I've met some similar people, maybe around here, want pretty decent, normal things like order and their country to remain their country, and the continuation of the Italians and stuff like that. Okay, and sometimes these people have held these desires and wants, and although justified, have held them and pushed and they've had to either hide them, or they've been open about them, have gotten so much hate that they've become angry themselves. They've been like this for years. You got to understand, they've gone old like this. And although in some cases factually justified, even and in other ways, they become old like this. They become old and just yelling and fighting and fighting and fighting. And what changes? What's happening here? They're still not making the babies, and they're still being overtaken. They're almost committing suicide, the Italians, the Europeans, the West, in a way that's unprecedented in history, like some say. This is a total, like, you got to see, when you see images, like the British minority here, when you see images like this, now many go to all sorts of reasons. Oh, it's on purpose. They're genociding the whites. And I cannot tell you any of. I just can't tell you. I'm not denying. I'm not making any commentary on that. But here's one thing you got to agree on: this is not Britain. They may have the accent. They may even speak English, but this is how. And this is again. I've never been over there, but from accounts that I'm getting from people and videos I see and stuff, it's not quite the same Britain, okay? So you see stuff like this, right? And stuff like this. And what I'm trying to say here is that I don't see what the media sees, but at the same time, I see war is coming. And you got to understand, this is not fearful. And okay, look, all I'm trying to say is war is coming because hearts are angry. Think about it. Only angry hearts would create a world like this, where Hillary can bark at you while all these immigrants are pouring in, and she's like, I just don't understand. How is this a big deal? How you guys don't understand? They're the racists. We're the good guys. You got to have an angry heart to be so flippant and so destructive like that. Eventually, everyone becomes angry, and then they fight. You see, it's how it's all meant to happen. It's just there's no other way for it to happen because the hearts are angry. And so when I see this, I don't see what the media says, but I don't necessarily see. I just see guys who are maybe desperate, and desperate is anger. I see guys that are, I think I would want to understand, and I think might even, how do I put this? Not take a side with them. That's ridiculous. I don't even live there. But I see some similar things going on here, and it's wrong. It's wrong how people are being replaced for whatever reason. Immigration, their own problems, their own shortcomings, whatever reason. And then exacerbated by the government, let's be real. And evil people. And then I see that one thing begets another thing. People are responding, and they're angry in their response. And here's what I'm really trying to say. I see these guys in Italy, and they're out there for these killings that happened in 1978. These two guys, it's like these people, how many of these people are, I'm looking at this crowd, I'm like, that doesn't look like a young crowd. They're like balding and stuff. I've seen maybe a couple of young people, and I'm realizing that young white guys are adopting this same spirit from these older white guys who are mad. Let's be real. They're mad, and they've done nothing. They've gotten nothing done. They haven't woken up any hearts. They haven't, you know what I'm saying? Someone even called into my show, and we love them. I really do. Anyways, I'm just trying to say that this is not a personal attack, but I think we've seen that on display on my show. Anger will get you nowhere, even if you're right. Even if you're far right. Even if you're right. And it's wrong what's happening to the Italians. It's wrong what's happening in America. But you can't respond in anger. And imagine, look, do you see the picture I'm painting here? Imagine young white guys, or young Italian guys, depends who you ask, mad about what some older white Italian guy told them about the 𝒂𝒐𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔 killings, man. Look what they killed. Look what they did. It's like, no, man, you're right. That was wrong what happened in 1978. But it's time to move forward. It's time to, what do we do now? It's like Republicans in America. What are they fighting for? Nothing's getting fought for. Everybody forgot. Everybody forgot what it all even means. You know what I'm saying? Hello. 𝒂𝒂𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔, you know. That's just something I was thinking about. What do you guys think? See, it's like it's how it just has to happen because the hearts are angry. And it's hard not to, what's the word? I don't want to say sympathize, but maybe it is sympathize with the Italians, especially these ones right here specifically. But it's to them that this message is so important because you're being goaded into anger. You're being goaded into false. You're being goaded. Look, the enemies, the people with twisted hearts that are so afraid of the world that would rather see nations like Italy broken apart and really diverse so that there's no problems. Oh, let's all love each other, which is not love. Look, here's your love. Here's your love. It's not working. These people are not happy. That was not a Roman salute, YouTube. Look at my hand, okay? Anyways, you understand what I'm saying here? 888-775-3773. You got to notice young white guys. You got to understand what I'm saying here. Young white guys. It's like your instincts are correct. What's going on is wrong, but don't do the same mistakes that the angry white men before you made, which is what? What was the mistake here? Remember, the mistake is hating, anger. Because there's a correct way of doing these things, I think, of fighting for Italy and keeping Italy and all those things. It's stuff on my mind, you know what I mean? This is what's going on in Italy. They got the far right leader Meloni. Hold on, let me get my camera right here. Boom, boom, boom. Am I looking right? Am I looking? There you go. It's just what's going on, okay? Anger, that's what's really going on. But I hope you find that interesting in Italy. What were they even marching about? Yeah, like I was saying, everything is fake. What's up? Pleasure. The mistake was not winning. That they were marching, the ones that caught the media, they were marching about some killings that happened in 1978. Young members of this what the media, what Wikipedia calls a far-right group, killed by far-left members who were acquitted by their alleged crimes, and that is something that's commemorated annually by these neo-fascists, as the media is calling them. But that's what that was. Yeah, hopefully you understand what I'm getting at here. Because this actually coincides with something here. That's something a Democrat in America was getting at. In the spirit of getting at stuff. Getting at what's going on with the Democrats. What are the Democrats getting at? Because look what's going on here. You got the young men in Italy. Some old, maybe lots of old. Still mad about 𝒂𝒒𝒂𝒎 killings. Out there, you got the young, some young maybe. They're not happy. The FASCIMO, young men, they're coming in droves. It's scaring people. It's scaring the women. It's scaring the media, which is female-minded. I learned that from the Hake Report. You're seeing what's going on here, maybe a little bit, and you're seeing the men aren't happy. The men are coming together in a way, and when men come together under a unified mission, it terrifies people because things get done. It's a terrifying thing, okay? And I know that James Carville was saying something interesting about the Democrats. Democrats are the party of women, says Scott Adams, sharing this video of James Carville, who I met once, actually. James Carville. James Carville. Now, I know this is like a OG kind of Democrat name, right? Now, this is, I say, hey, peeps, inform the anchor baby on the Obama years, Bush years, so that he can really be an American anchor baby. Send him movie ideas. You know what I mean? We're playing around here, but hey, this is on the Democrat side, right? James Carville, that's a name. This is like an OG Democrat thing, right? He's political consultant, author, occasional actor. Strategized for candidates. I know that he is a Democrat guy. I met him once at, it was something. It was maybe Politicon, maybe. Maybe it was like the first year I started working for Jesse. We went to Politicon. I met him, and I know Jesse had a nice conversation with him. Maybe the kick streamers might say Jesse mogged James Carville there. But that's just if you're a beta. They were having a civil conversation about Trump. And it was just letting them know that Trump's the man. And James Carville was like, okay. And Jesse was just making sure he heard him. He was just making sure he heard him. You know he's the man, though, right? Okay, yeah. James Carville, I see his face furrowing a little bit. This is my opinion, right? I don't know him. But you know he's the man, right? You know, hey, Jesse just really wanted him to know James Carville warns young men are leaving the Democrats in droves. This is from the Post-Millennial. Let's play this little clip. And let's watch James Carville speak about just that. Give me 1 second here. James Carville, take it away. Oh, wait, let me turn this up a bit.
You know, I've been very vocal about this. It's horrifying. Our numbers among younger voters, particularly younger blacks, younger Latinos, or whatever, but whatever younger, I don't like younger people of color, particularly males. We're not shedding them. They're leaving in the droves. You know, I've been very vocal about this. It's horrifying. Our numbers among younger voters.
Oh, it's replaying. What is that accent? Amongst younger voters, they're bad. Dismal numbers. I wonder what he really means. I'd like to know what he means. You know, I hear that about Republicans. They have bad numbers with the youth. I hear that about, I would just wonder what he means. Does he mean like his type of Democrat? And their younger people are just, they're radical. He's like I just wonder what he means, right? But he is saying that young men, they're outskis. No men, they're leaving in droves. And I found this a little interesting in that, you know, you see in the men, the fascists in Italy, they're out there, the female-minded liberal media is sounding the alarm. The women have a almost militant hold over different aspects of American life. They're in the politics, they're in the sports, they're in the media, they're making you feel bad. They're breaking the glass ceiling. You're a bigot, you're a misogynist, patriarchy. It's a new world. But they need help from the men. It's the only way that is possible. The only way that they can have, think about it, the threat to the liberal order, the threat to the female-minded liberal order, the feel-bad society, is the very thing propping it up. Men. The very thing, you know what I'm saying? And suddenly it falls apart. So should the men just say, oh, you know what? Nah. We're throwing up the double Romans. I'm messing around. It's just an observation, I guess. But interesting, don't you think? Female, they maybe went too hard. Did they go too hard? They turn up the temperature a little too quickly. And the men are just like, the young men are, yeah, you know what? Nah. We're not doing that. Yeah, you know what? We're just not. We're exiting. We're exiting the Democrats. What do y'all think? 888-775-3773. What are we saying here? 𝒂𝒒. Democrats, women, the fascist uprising, the ladies. All of a sudden, maybe not as their position not as solid as etched in stone as one might have thought. In my opinion, the only reason Trump was able to get a lot of young men from other races is because he's a liberal and a major hustler, which is universal. Young people don't want to be conservative. Interesting comment there. Everything is fake. I mean, I think that's probably true. I think there's also another angle here. Another angle. Maybe it's not so much the young people, but maybe older people. I think Trump is sincere in his, like, that liberal kind of flavor of, you know, hey, women, blacks. I think it's like sincere Trump, and I think it maybe had a positive effect. I'll go that far. Maybe that's not even that deep. Anyways. Democrats and women, what are we talking about? I'm telling you about the fall of everything. I'm being dramatic. But there's this amazing thread with Sacramento Insider, and I want to show you this thread. Because you got the men. They're out there. They're throwing up the salutes. They're not happy with society. They're maybe making the mistakes of some people who weren't happy about society before. And if they do that, they won't change anything. But okay, they're out there. They're not happy with society. What's going on with society? What's going on? It's like Mad Max over here sometimes. Depends where you look, I guess. Depends where you live, let's be real. Depends where you live. It can be so chaotic at times. And there's this thread from Sacramento that you got to see. I think you'll find this fascinating. And in context with everything we're talking about, there's some people who are unhappy with, and there's someone who's unhappy with what's going on, and he is not necessarily going Christian with it. But we'll get to that. He's a big name amongst the atheists. What's got this once maybe possibly not anymore, once militant atheist. What's got him thinking, you know what? Maybe this Christianity ain't so bad. Maybe it was that video I showed you earlier. Maybe it was a little bit of this. In many areas of London, native Britons are in a clear minority and will soon reach zero. This is not immigration, it's replacement, writes Radio Genoa. Okay. Maybe this person has been radicalized. Okay. Here's the Sacramento Insider thread. And you can call in 888-775-3773. In 2013, Adam Carolla had Gavin Newsom on his podcast. Newsom revealed why California politicians govern so poorly. Adam, in government, start big and we'll get down to the small stuff. Gavin responds, I like sweating the small stuff and then getting to the big stuff. So, okay, he's describing a, I guess, method of governing. You know, you got to wonder, I don't know, basic priorities. How does that work? When a house is on fire, what do you do first? I don't know. Last Saturday, a Sacramento conservation organization cleaned up these needles left by homeless in parks and waterways. And it's quite a bit of them. It's just, I don't know. Shout out to Sacramento. Anybody in the chat over there in Sacramento. Yesterday, the Sacramento City Council voted on making Sac a transgender sanctuary city. What the... Talk about priorities, right? Sweating the small stuff before the big stuff, maybe. Don't you think? Sacramento Council votes unanimously to become a sanctuary city. What do you even do? What's that even mean? Does that mean... I don't know what that even means. A sanctuary. You cannot say anything. You cannot criticize. What does that mean? You cannot... I don't know, not be good to them. Okay, we're talking about London. No, we're not talking about that. Where were we? Sacramento Council. Look, I'm telling you about this thread. You know, the Sacramento Insider makes a point to bring up how there's very little and can only really find one significant attack that involved a transgender person being attacked. And in 2016, at least according to this person, right? Sacramento Insider. But says they find a whole bunch of crime coming from homeless people, homeless people killing others, other homeless people killing other people, from transgender people, transgender homeless people. A lot of crime there, a lot of violent crime, this person. There's even people going around killing homeless people. And he points out this one story. Well, he just points out one story in Sacramento, though, of this young-looking black guy, man, not sure, going around killing homeless people. This person mentions how each of these criminals in all these stories all have long rap sheets, tons of priors, should have been to jail, really. Lax bail laws and feeling bad is what we could think for what's going on here, right? So I'm pointing this out, though, because this section right here is interesting to me because it's almost like to be expected. When you think about it, I know everyone wants to play the political football and, you know, blame each other, do the blame game thing. And that's not what I'm trying to do here, where it's like, no, it's the transgenders doing the killings. No, it's these white racists, your radicals that are doing it. No, it's your radicals that are doing it. But anyone with anger is all the way radical. And you know this. And it's to be expected. It's not a condemnation or a political football, it's your fault blame thing. But it's to be expected that homeless people confused and I mean, truly confused. You know, these trans people, they're rarely well adjusted, even if they, you know, have jobs and all that. It really is like their identity is connected to a perversion. It's like a sexual thing. Like, I know that's maybe obvious, but I don't know if people think about it like this. So anyways, what was I saying here? Attorney General. What was I saying here? Oh, yeah. That it's to be expected. There ain't the people in those situations. It's not just an accident. It's not a condemnation of them, but you got to understand you got hell inside of you. And it shows in your life, okay? And examine your own life, because if you can hide that hell, I don't know. Didn't Jesus say the drunkards and the like poor and I don't know, sinners or whatever are more likely to find the kingdom of heaven? Anyways. So where were we? Sacramento. I'm telling you about Sacramento because I'm pointing out that little thing there. On the homeless and the deranged, it's to be expected. They have anger. Their lives are messed. It shows. And so I'm reading this thread. I'm pointing out this thread here. Sacramento is known as the River City. I didn't know this. As it used to have beautiful bike trails. Well, that sucks. But what was I showing you? This thread here. Sacramento local politicians. 7 days ago, they passed a ceasefire resolution for the Israeli conflict. Meanwhile, homeless are murdering people in Sac. Is this what Gavin Newsom meant by sweating the small stuff? I know some people don't think it's small stuff. I get it. It's important. It's a ceasefire. It's a genocide. But I don't know. This is America. So they're mad about that. They're trying to pass the ceasefires. This is local, too. It's so interesting. City council. It's just a local city council. What do you... Talk about priorities. I'm pointing this out because this is you got these people out here. Look, I already showed you these guys are out here and the media is mad and they're saying all these things about them. And although I wanted to point out how they shouldn't make the mistake of falling into anger, they're wrong about what they assume is in their hearts. And then they go back and say, I don't understand. I just don't understand. Why is this such a hard decision, 2024, the election? And I just showed you what and who, what. Let's be real. What is leading the country? And what it is a spirit, the spirit that feels bad. The spirit that feels bad does not love. The spirit that feels bad is using what that spirit feels bad for. And the using and the feeling bad is all a big show. It's all a big deception. And you as a person in your body act out these deceptions. You act them out in the world on behalf of that spirit. Okay, you follow me here? Anyways. Mad Max NYC. You get it. That's what's going down. And I don't see the love. Okay, I just don't see the love. No one trying to understand. They want to censor things. You get it? They want to censor everybody. And they had this whole thing. They had this spat online over. I was just seeing a clip. I literally just saw a clip. It was Nick Fuentes. You know him. He was talking with Jeremy Boring, the Daily Wire CEO. And he said something about, the whole thing was interesting, but the Daily Wire CEO said something about, I'm worried about some of the things you say. And I know that mentality is in like the world big time. But it's such a lie. If you, and I'm not, and I thought that conversation was quite decent. I don't think Jeremy Boring was coming from a bad place at all, if anybody knows what I'm talking about. But look, I'm just saying that that particularly right there, if you don't want to hear them out, is a lie. And they want to censor everybody. They say, we're just worried. We're worried about what people are saying. Then let's talk about it. Let's hear people out. Okay, Sacramento, we drew the line from Sacramento to the Italian fascists. The British are a minority. The homeless are everywhere. They're mad. Now they're so mad the fascists are out and they're getting media attention. What's going on? In all this chaos. In all this chaos. A man whose name you may remember comes back into, well, I don't know about back into the news, but happens to appear on my news feeds here. A name I'm somewhat familiar with. Richard Dawkins. Anybody know this guy? And this like king atheist, militant atheist. He would say that too. I remember he would call what he was doing militant atheism. And then I think he stopped doing that. Richard Dawkins, author of The God Delusion. I actually read that. I was on like a little kick. I don't know what the heck I was on. I was on like some kick. I was on like I'm right. I was rather young. How old was I? Because I had like rejected my family's religion at this point. I must have been 15 maybe. It must have already been the first year of high school. Because although I had been kicking and screaming and not being pleasant to go to church with, so they leave me alone, and I was like, I would never go to church with the family and worship, and I'd just sit there like arms crossed. No, I'm not feeling the spirit. And if I'd yawn, man, I would feel so embarrassed because I would yawn, and I'd yawn so hard like you'd tear up, you know what I'm talking about? And I would wipe my tears away so fast because I didn't want anyone to think I was having a religious experience. You bunch of crazy people. I remember just looking at them like, oh, this is the heart of my heart, Lord. And I'm like, no. But I never out loud said, I don't believe in God. I'm an atheist until I met a girl. It was a woman. Not a woman. It was a girl. It's a girl in high school. She said, I don't think I believe in God. Yeah, me neither. Yeah, you know what? I don't think I do either. Yeah. You know what? Now that you mention it, yeah, I don't think, yeah, me neither. Yeah, I have my doubts too. Want to talk about it? Anyways. And I think I got a kick. I got a kick at that point. I was like, yeah. It was short-lived, but I read quite a bit of the God Delusion by Richard Dawkins. And at that time, I wasn't considering or ready for such topics. So it was like when I tried to read like Crime and Punishment or something when I was really young. I don't know what got into me, but I'm reading this and none of it's registering. I'm just reading words and I'm just like, yeah, I'm smart. The God Delusion. Why am I talking about the God Delusion? Because Richard Dawkins is saying that, you know what, Christianity is so bad. You know what, I'm culturally Christian. And I want to talk about that a little bit here. Let me see some super chats though real quick before we get to that story, and you can call in 888-775-3773. Some real quick super chats before we get right into that. 💐💊, thank you, 💒💊. Thank you so much. Appreciate this, the support. 𒒐𝒄𝒊𝒂𝒎 was from yesterday. Thank you for that. Appreciate that, Kale. Thank you for the support. 💒💊. Amazing. Let me see what y'all are saying here. Goth Nick is the best Nick. That's funny. Goth Nick. You are talking about Richard Dawkins, who wouldn't be alive if it weren't for the Crusades. Interesting. Richard Dawkins, I'm telling you about Richard Dawkins here. He's saying, if I had to choose between Christianity and Islam, I'd choose Christianity every single time. Self-proclaimed cultural Christian Richard Dawkins tells Rachel Johnson he's slightly horrified to hear Ramadan lights were hung on Oxford Street rather than Easter lights. You know, we had something similar happen over here. Remember Transgender Day of Visibility on Easter? On Easter. It seems, I don't think although I'll leave space here. I think it can just be quite a bit of it is just, oh, I don't know. It's just, I don't know what's going on. And then people are hanging up Ramadan lights. But I think there are some twisted hearts, both in government and otherwise, who would rather see, who actively would rather see Ramadan lights instead of Easter lights in Oxford Street. Anyways, you get me. Here's Richard Dawkins. Let's watch a little bit of this.
Well, I must say I was slightly horrified to hear that Ramadan is being promoted instead. I do think that we are culturally a Christian country. I call myself a cultural Christian. I'm not a believer, but there's a distinction between being a believing Christian and being a cultural Christian. And so, I love hymns and Christmas carols, and I sort of feel at home in the Christian ethos. I feel that we are a Christian country in that sense. It's true that statistically the number of people who actually believe in Christianity is going down, and I'm happy with that. But I would not be happy if, for example, we lost all our cathedrals and our beautiful parish churches. So I count myself a cultural Christian. I think it would matter.
So interesting so far already, right? Cultural Christian, he says. And it's just quite fascinating. It sounds to me like he's saying the culture that he enjoys is coming from these churches and parishes, these cathedrals, these buildings. And I just find that quite interesting. He says he's happy that statistically the belief in Christianity is going down. Because Richard Dawkins, as an atheist, he believes they're essentially incorrect about this existence of a God. There's no evidence. And that has brought also its own ills in thinking and science and backwards thinking. Okay? That being said, he's this cultural Christian. He likes the Easter lights. He wants his country to remain his country. And at least admits that part of that is this Christianity. He may not understand why, or maybe he thinks he understands why. I've heard other atheists talk about this. They say something about the old religious stories kept a proto-primitive morality alive that we eventually refined, but I don't really quite see such advanced moral people today. I don't know, Mr. Scientist. Show me this noble, righteous society that we've refined through reason and reason alone. So obviously that's all quite fascinating. And of course the overarching question, well, where does it all come from then? Richard Dawkins, where does it all come from? I bet you it'd be quite easy to say, well, it comes from God. But let's also do some reflecting here. How come the so-called Christian countries with all their God, what's going on here? Maybe we don't understand. Maybe the Christians are just as ignorant as Richard Dawkins.
Christmas carols, and I sort of feel...
Oh, yeah, and one more comment. He actually is right about being culturally Christian. No one's really Christian. It's all just a cultural thing. It's all just cultural, and, there's a lot... For all the... And I personally think true criticisms of Islam, and I think even this modern Judaism I'm learning, is like tribal. It's tribal, it's liberal, it's biased, it has blind spots to themselves. It's cultural, it's shallow. Because why? Because all angry hearts are shallow and have blind spots to themselves, including the Christians, who, even the ones who say they believe in Jesus, who would look at Richard Dawkins and say, hey, you little silly atheist, this is what we've been trying to tell you. Therefore, missing how in their fight, they've actually pushed people like Richard Dawkins away. They're actually part of the problem. It's all quite fascinating. I hope you find it interesting, too. Let's keep this going here.
Home.
And you can call in, by the way. 888-775-3773.
In the Christian ethos, I feel that we are a Christian country in that sense. It's true that statistically the number of people who actually believe in Christianity is going down, and I'm happy with that. But I would not be happy if, for example, we lost all our cathedrals and our beautiful parish churches. So I count myself a cultural Christian. I think it would matter if we certainly if we substituted any alternative religion, that would be truly dreadful.
Well, which brings me to my supplementary point, which is that, as we know, church attendance is plummeting, but the erection of mosques across Europe, I think 6,000 are under construction, and there are many more, are being planned. So do you regard that as a problem? Do you think that matters?
Yes, I do, really. I mean, I might choose my words carefully. I mean, if I had to choose between Christianity and Islam, I choose Christianity every single time. I mean, it seems to me to be a fundamentally decent religion in a way that I think Islam is not.
I think you're going to have to explain why you say that,
yes,
Professor Dawkins. Why
Professor
is
Dawkins.
Islam fundamentally not
Ooh, Dawkins is in some hot water. I mean, I just don't know if he's ready for this. I just don't know if he's ever waited in such a place. But I'm going to hold out faith. I think he's a strong white individual who can maybe shed some light here.
Like Christianity.
Yes, I mean, the way women are treated. I mean, Christianity is not great about that.
Wait, what? Back it up here. So you had a chance here, Dawkins. So tell us, why is Islam not so decent? Go on.
Yes, I mean, the way women are treated. I mean, Christianity is not great about that. It's had its problems with female vicars and female bishops and things. But there's an active hostility to women, which is promoted, I think, by the holy books of Islam.
So he's criticizing the open hostility to women in Islam. And so that's what you see as indecent. It's their treatment of women. But Richard Dawkins, don't you know that the same Christianity you would rather keep to maintain the values you like, you're saying, oh, well, Christianity is not great either. It's had its problems with women. Have you maybe considered that I just don't want you to just throw that away. Look, I'm not saying we should hate women. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying that I think the Christians and their so-called problems with women that you're describing, and the problems that the Muslims have with women, they just didn't happen, okay? They just didn't happen, Richard Dawkins. So I encourage you to keep an open mind, and instead of knee-jerk reaction, hey, they're treating women badly, ask why. And maybe we can enjoy some deeper understanding, right? Because I'm not saying we need to be putting women in burqas, but we got to be putting women in burqas spiritually and with love. I don't know. Look, interpret that. Look. I'm just messing around, but Dawkins, look, they're not unfounded. And although maybe the Muslims may have overreacted, you gotta understand where they're coming from, man. They're the portal to hell. They're the end of society, and they're the legions. They're the legions of hell. The portal to hell. The portal to the legions of hell. They are not the legions of hell. Okay, it's inside, and the weak man who allow it. Right? You follow me here, Dawkins? Please don't make the same mistake, because in that you will actually be diluting the very same Christianity that you appreciate in part, or the cultural Christianity. I don't know if Dawkins is ready for the Christianity that had its problems with women. This is poetic justice, says Internet Manster. In what way? In what way do you say, Internet Manster? Poetic justice. Poetic justice. Depends on who you ask. Burqas. Okay, we're talking about Dawkins. He wants to maintain cultural Christianity. He's doesn't like all these mosques and Islam coming up. Doesn't like how they treat the women. Okay, maybe you disagree with what Dawkins is saying there, or whatever. You're just like, I don't know, man. You're about to argue with him, but hold on. He's essentially correct that it's all different. It's all quite different. It's all not quite Britain. Okay. So you're following. He wants the Christianity. I guess the question remains, why? Why the heck is this happening? Modern Western civilization has extraordinary empathy compared to its power. This is also arguably its greatest weakness. With the nuclear bomb, America could have subjugated every nation on Earth. Remember this conversation a little bit? Mentioned it on Friday, I think. Elon Musk getting in on a conversation here about the end of the West. Something you hear about maybe a lot lately. Especially if you're a conservative or something. Debt of the West. How could it be? How is it that a people, and possibly unprecedented in history, could be just so okay with, I don't know, the suicidal impulse, as one man calls it. You may know him. Jared Taylor is a name I'm somewhat familiar with. Now, I forget, did Jared Taylor ever talk to Jesse? Jesse Lee Peterson. Jared Taylor, he's a guy. I know him from, American Renaissance or something like that. And I'm familiar with him from that clip that every now and then goes viral when he was he speaks Japanese, apparently. Well, yeah. He's interviewed by some Japanese station or outlet about some of his commentary about whites and etc. And this clip always goes, and this is how I know Jared Taylor, where he's saying to these Japanese people in Japanese, nobody goes around telling Japanese people you can't beat Japan. Imagine if you just had a whole bunch of people coming in. What? And they told you, and they criticized you for being racist. What would you say? That'd be ridiculous, right? And the Japanese people were like, this guy's making some sense here, though. I thought this guy was the rabid, insane racist. This guy's making some sense. That's how I know. Yes, JLP talked to Jared Taylor a number of times. Right on. So that's how I know him. This clip, I came across this clip that was actually posted under this Elon conversation that I never got to on Friday. And I forgot how interesting this clip was. It's Jared Taylor talking to Tree of Logic, I think also another previous guest on the Jesse Lee Peterson show. Tree of Logic, who I think has me blocked. Tree of Logic, unblock me. I didn't mean it. Tree of Logic. I think I said that. Something about these conservative women lately on Twitter having bitch fits, fighting each other about silly things. Pearl, you're just a grifter. You're a grifter. No, you're a grifter. I didn't mean it, Tree of Logic. Let's be friends. I'm just messing around. Look, I thought this was an interesting conversation. And I think it's a little spicy to have Jared Taylor on platforms nowadays. I don't know about that. I kind of forget. I feel like it might be. So, hey, kudos to Tree of Logic for, I'm sure, having what some might call courageous conversation, but whatever. Look, why I'm showing you this is because Jared Taylor in this clip ponders what had happened to whites, why they are in this suicidal impulse that I'm describing. And he doesn't quite know why either, but he offers some possibilities.
Is actively building up a funeral pyre for our own destruction as a people, as with territories where we can be ourselves. Just the other day, I was being interviewed by some British guy. And he was sort of poo-pooing the idea that white people had done anything remarkable. And I was telling him, well, wait a minute. You know, the Industrial Revolution, all these scientific inventions, we built the modern world. Come on, you have to admit that. It's just, but don't forget Arabic numerals. White people didn't come up with that. And I'm thinking to myself, here is a guy who is so reluctant to think well of his own group that he's clutching at straws to try to downgrade and denigrate the achievements of his own people. Can you imagine anyone of any race taking that view?
No.
Yes, it's impossible. Only white people are sort of searching desperately for some example to prove that, well, we're really not so great after all. Cool. I mean, that's just sick. I mean, ordinarily, people are clutching at straws to come up with any justification to think that they're great. But white people are clutching at straws for any excuse to justify thinking that, we're miserable exploiters, we're the cancer of history.
don't forget that part. This distinction he made was quite interesting to me. That everybody isn't that the most natural thing? That's your knee-jerk reaction, right? You're not trying to see yourself as negative. It's only white people who are trying to see themselves as negative. Okay, look.
It is a sickness. It's a sickness that is exclusive to my people. And
exclusive.
Frankly, I do not know where it comes from. I mean, there are various theories about, the first and second world wars were these devastating things that made white people wonder what they were up to. And some people think Christianity, with its sort of universal this, that, and the other, is the problem. And some people say, the Jews have this constant message delegitimizing any kind of white racial consciousness. Other people have one idea that I don't know. I don't think any of these explanations really gets to the heart of what is a kind of suicidal impulse that's without precedent in the history of the world.
That is so interesting. Man, I find Dear Taylor, I think, quite sober-minded on this, in that he said he doesn't know. He left it as an I don't know. And he says all these different reasons, the world wars. Now you think, wow, the world wars, that sounds like a pretty big thing. That makes sense. Big grand wars, like Christianity, making everyone beta. Oh, okay. Let's think about that. Okay, the Jews, they have this message of delegitimate. You think, okay, I mean, those are all pretty big, Jared Taylor. I mean, that's what they tell me, right? They tell me those are pretty deep. They matter. But he says, I don't think any of these explanations really gets to the heart of what is a kind of suicidal impulse. And so I appreciate what he's saying there, because in that sentence is, to me at least, shows that, I think this is a sober-minded white man. It really doesn't. Think about how they're really quite shallow. Not to say they don't have their truth and importance, whatever he's talking about here, the world wars. I read about how Patrick Buchanan writes about the unnecessary wars, as he calls them, and how, he has some conclusions about that, how really the Europe and the West really never recovered from those he calls it almost like a civil war. It was Europe fighting itself. Whites, it was an internal war of the West fighting itself. And they never really stopped. They've never really stopped fighting. And so that's interesting. It has its place, but I think I'm with Taylor. I don't know if that quite explains it. He says Christianity maybe was the problem. They say that, you've heard that. I've heard that on my show. There's callers who call me. They don't like Christianity. They don't believe Jesus was even real. They're kind of focused on proving his historicity, like that would, would even matter in a sense. I gotta wonder though, like when you got all these people, when you got historical accounts, like isn't that the same level of truth we use for any historic figure? So, some of these Jesus deniers, they have their own historic figures. I wonder what their level of what's their standard of evidence in that. But anyways, they say that though. They say that Christianity has had this influence on white men. And there's even some, I don't know, maybe pagan is the wrong thing to call them. I'm just messing around trying to communicate with all of you. But there's viewers of my show and callers and stuff that have turned away from Christianity for this very reason. If you ask me, it's my personal opinion that they're talking about a sissified modern Christianity, which is not strong at all. That's not how Christianity is supposed to be at all. They hear me say something like anger is evil. They hear Jesse say anger is evil. You must forgive. And they think that people literally think that I'm saying, just let them walk all over you. And if someone hits you, it's, you just got to turn the other cheek. And, these white, it's just over. It's just all over. Just let's just pray about it and hold hands. Like, that's not what I'm saying. But I gotta ask. I gotta put a question out for those people who think that forgiveness and all that does nothing. What do you think you're gonna do? Let's go out and yell. That's all good that's doing. It's time to examine your life and truly change it. It's the only way to change a nation. It's the people that have to change, and you can't change others. So where do you start? Keep it simple. We got Richard Dawkins. He's talking about the suicidal impulse of the West. And he says that none of this quite explains it, even the Jewish thing here. And like I say, and like I've been saying, all angry people have biases. They have blind spots to their own groups, and these groups are commonly drawn on racial lines. And sorry, Jews, you do it too. Anybody who's angry does it. But like Jared Taylor says, I think it's quite shallow. It doesn't explain this whole thing, this unprecedented suicidal impulse. And I found it interesting him calling it an exclusive sickness. It's exclusive what white people are doing. And I do find something quite unique in the flavor here, but it might just be on its face. It might just be a shallow thing here. But I think it does speak to something. And what I'm getting at is that, yeah, it seems like if we're going to get to brass tacks and comparing and splitting hairs and doing the worldly thing, white people are more generous. They're just more understanding. They're more colorblind. So AKA less racist, etc. They're the least prejudiced. So if we're going to do that, then sure. But I find it interesting. He calls it exclusive illness. Maybe might keep you from understanding this a little bit. Anybody, 9 times out of 10, look, most people who are out there helping and doing the right thing and doing the mea culpa, I'm sorry, is actually doing it for them. They're usually doing it for themselves. It's not because they care. It's not because they're really sorry. It's not because they really want to change. It's because they're scared. It's because they want something. You see what I'm saying? So when you kind of remove the face here, it's all kind of the same. It's all kind of it's all evil. It's all anger. It's all the same. Anyway, so you guys following me here? This interview is 5 years old. Oh, no way. I didn't know that. Thank you, Carlota. I thought this was more recent. This is a 5-year-old interview? Huh. With Jared Taylor there and Tree of Logic. Those who want to destroy Christians only focus on the peaceful side. Appreciate that, Chris. Look, this is just what's on the anchor baby's mind. Because I want to see, like, you know me, I'm an American anchor baby. Yeah, sure, it's a benefit. I'm benefiting. But I think I partly do. As much as the next guy, maybe. Look, I'm just trying to say that I do want to see a strong nation. A strong nation of people. I just want to see all nationalism for all, right? A strong nation of people. Cohesion. And then for the whites, for the Americans, anyways, you follow me here. You get it. 888-775-3773. Dawkins. Quite interesting there on Christianity and suicide of the West. It's all just so fascinating. Okay. I feel like I had a caller earlier. Did I totally just go on one and I forget you there, caller? My apologies. I feel like I maybe even had 2. Have I been on one here? Just like presenting what I'm presenting, and did I not show some patience and love to the callers? That's my apologies. Because I feel like someone may have been waiting. Okay. Dawkins. I have something I think you'll find this interesting as well. RFK. I did say we might have gone to the civil rights movement today. I am wearing the Elder. I am wearing the Uncle Tom. Elder Peterson West Swain. I met the first 4. Carol Swain. I met Adam West. Larry Elder. It's a nice shirt. And I'm talking about civil rights a little bit. You know, James mentioned it in his show. Martin Luther King, MLK. We're talking crap about MLK. I know, spicy, so edgy, but I'm just a Johnny come lately. It's quite easy for me. Now that the Overton window has been destroyed on this one, thanks to Chad Jackson, featuring, with some help by Jesse Lee Peterson. I've always found it so interesting. I feel like really Jesse really is one of the only people kind of busting that wide open about the civil rights movement. Who's really talking like that? Who's saying that? Anyways, about the civil rights movement, they say it's love. They say it was this amazing thing. What do you mean? Now, you may disagree with racism. You may think, Nick, you know what? This is not a racist country, but you got to agree on that. This was rights for all people. You're telling me you're against civil rights? There's people that still think like that. I know my chat is so based. I know my chat is beyond even their host. They know about MLK. I'm bringing him up because there's an interesting meetings of peoples here, colliding of worlds. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. You know him, RFK Jr., running for president. Don't know if he still is. Is he still running? Is RFK Jr. still running for president? Robert F. Kennedy Jr. picks Nicole Shanahan as his running mate. Oh, San Francisco Chronicle 7 days ago. Looks like he's still maybe running. And he's got Nicole Shanahan. He's got a lady as his running mate. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. In an interesting moment here with another previous Jesse Lee Peterson guest. It's just a back-to-back previous Jesse Lee Peterson guests. Stop with that slander, Carver. It's always Vivek. Do you think you got me? You think you got me figured out? I think I'm voting for Vivek 2024. This is all a ploy just for me, just to get Vivek in. Conspiracy theorists. In the chat, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Okay, how do I want to present this? I was hearing the Hake Report, as we do. TheHakeReport.com, Monday to Friday, 9 to 11 a.m. Pacific time. And so I was listening to the Hake Report, and MLK got brought up, Martin Luther King, and he, James was saying, I think, he ended up being kind of like a communist, right? He saw in that Uncle Tom film how he looked like a total Obama, feeling bad for some crying woman. Let me hit you with some quote. Let me hit you with a quote, okay? Because it got brought up on the Hake Report. It made me search something up. I ended up coming across a quote. I think I remember reading this before. And corroborated by Washington Post as a quote from Martin Luther King Jr., a letter from Birmingham jail. I'm not entirely sure why he was in that jail, but look, it goes like this. I have been gravely disappointed with the white moderate. I have almost reached the regrettable conclusion that the Negro's great stumbling block in the stride toward freedom is not the white citizen's counselor or the Ku Klux Klanner, but the white moderate, who is more devoted to order than to justice, who prefers a negative peace, which is the absence of tension, to a positive peace, which is the presence of justice. This guy was a communist. This guy, and he said it before, I heard it on the Hake Report, riots are the words of the unheard or whatever. This guy did not like white America's desire to keep the peace. What? You should be upending your whole lives for the problems of others. This is a total communist. The Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., letter from a Birmingham jail. So that's fascinating. A little quotation for you there. MLK Black issues. It's a thing that got brought up to RFK Jr. An interesting confrontation with journalists. They're calling her a journalist. I don't know who's calling her a journalist, but hey, standards and all that. I mean, hey, I'm a journalist somewhat. Standards and all that. When confronted by journalist Vicky Dillard. You remember that name? Let's see if we can watch some of this. What's the part that interested me? Let me see if I can find it. I may not be able to find it, and I will just have to read it instead. But do you remember Vicky Dillard? Vicky Dillard was an interesting guest on the Jesse Lee Peterson show. And she just had an energy about her. I don't know what to tell you, but she had a very Dr. Umar-esque / who was that other guy? Come on, help me out, folks. He's name with a T. He gave the Kuhn Award to Jesse. She's got kind of his energy too. Name with a T. Kuhn Award to Jesse. Tariq Nasheed. Thank you, Hake. She has kind of his energy. They repeat things. You repeat things. I don't know why Dr. Umar does that, but hey, I think he does that because it works. I think that's why speech people repeat things. He's like, I am sitting across a snowstorm right now. I am sitting in a snowstorm right now. And he'll like repeat himself. You know what I'm talking about, right, Dr. Umar? I feel like I did this bit on Friday. Vicky Dillard talking with RFK, giving him the full black woman experience, and I don't know if he's really handling it that well. Let's see if I can find the part, because the part that interests me is that she is making all these claims about civil rights and what was she saying? She's saying some things about, okay, let me see if I can read it out. Journalist Vicky Dillard confronted RFK on his stances on several black issues, including his support for Israel's genocidal obliteration. That's what these people write. So when asked about that, that's what this moment is. She's having some criticism over his stances on black issues and the war in Gaza, and it's RFK Jr.'s response that got me interested. Let's see. I'm going to attempt. This is probably a bad idea on the air like this. Let me see if I can scrub through the video and find it. This is probably a bad idea.
That has to do with justice. And
maybe you get a taste of, maybe you can see what I saw too. You could get a taste of RFK Jr. receiving the full Vicky Dillard experience. I just wonder, when I saw him respond too, he gave just Democrat response, like canned Democrat responses. And I wonder, and I gotta, it just shows me Democrats are just as out of their depth. Imagine if they, they got the black women on their side all, somewhat happy, but imagine if they got mad and started debating and getting mad at the white Democrats. I don't know if they would be able to hand it very well.
Usual grouping of the danger that you pose to both sides could go further when you do right by us. So this resistance last point.
Oh man, this is so stupid. Honestly, this woman is like, you can't even understand her because she's on this energy, and at some point the host even says, "Vicky, so what's your question?" And she's like, "I don't have one. We're not scrubbing through this video. Let's see if we can find RFK's response. And if I can't find it in the next few seconds, I'll just tell you what I was thinking. Apologies.
Were embraced by Martin.
Okay, yeah, I found it. Look, I actually happen to find it right here. This is actually one of my weird superpowers.
That's the kind of leader that... So let me address...
So he's about to address, like I said, black issues, okay, and he wants to point out something about the civil rights movement. Let's watch.
A couple of things that you said. One is, I don't think my job is to do what people want me to do. I've never believed that. If that's the kind of leader that people want, then they should not vote for me. I'm going to do what I think is right. And everything I do, everything I've done throughout my career has shown that. Nobody liked when I was talking about vaccines. The majority of people just did not want that. I talk about it anyway. I'm going to do what I think is right.
Oh, man. This is what I mean about scrubbing videos. I thought I found it.
The Jews took we're at the floor.
Found it. He's talking about civil rights right here.
and particularly the leadership of the Jews, were at the forefront of that movement and were embraced by Martin Luther King, were embraced by the other leaders of the movement. 3 Jewish boys, Goodman, Schwerner, and Cheney, were killed in Mississippi. They died so that Black Americans could, first the Civil Rights Movement, many, many other Jews took great risk and suffered because of their sacrifices for the Civil Rights Movement.
I'm reminded of something Jesse said once. Nails, are you having trouble listening to? Are you having trouble listening to the woman or to the man here? Hey, covering his ears. Poor RFK. You're never going to be president with that energy. I mean, with that voice. This is what some say. But what was I saying here? Look. I'm reminded of something that Jesse said once about how every liberal, everybody with anger is a liberal. Everybody with anger is a liberal. And what I mean here is like, I don't know, sometimes maybe you get confusing. Like, well, the civil rights movement. Okay, good, bad. Well, civil rights, well, rights, those are good. Like, you could get confused, but if your litmus test was anger, I think it would be a little clearer. Think about it. All angry people have biases, okay? Doesn't matter who it is. Even if it's the guy saying, oh, I just want all people to be judged by the content of their character. And yeah, but even that guy, if he has anger, and you pay attention, you might see it, is not helping anything. You follow me here a little bit? I'll make you some kind of point here. But RFK Jr. up against Vicky Diller here, you know, I just don't know if they're ready. If they're ready for the black woman, they'll be able to handle her. 2 worst voices in politics. It's a little difficult. I understand, but it's okay. So a little info for you there. Connecting it with some Hake Report moment. Thought it was fascinating. RFK caring about black issues here, and I guess just trying to point out some interesting parts here about love and stuff. They say he's trying to say that's like a good thing here. Like, let me just point out, you know, because she's being very critical, I guess, of Israel. I didn't really see the first part, to be fair. And he's like, you know, I don't know, Vicky. Like, they were there at the civil rights movement. That's not really a good thing. That was the worst thing that ever happened to black people, right? And it reminds me of how all people who have anger for example, they'll identify in the plight of someone else who is being oppressed, for example. Why? Because all angry people have biases. They have these racial biases. They have blind spots. They'll see the blacks who are seeing whites as the enemy here doing this blame game. Guess what? Anybody blaming doing it. Anybody doing that blame game is in the same boat with the blacks. Okay, so you get it. Guess we won't get to see her part. What's her part? Did I leave something out? Everything is fake? Did you want to see like her response or something? That might be interesting. I was just thinking about that too. Is that what you mean? Everything is fake? You want to see her response to this?
20% of my career.
Because this is like a 13-minute video, so that's why I was trying to move quick. But her response to this might be interesting. I wonder if that's what you mean, everything is fake. Let this play while you answer, maybe.
And the rest of them, the remnants of those populations, confined to reservations for 500 years. And all of this land was taken from them. And that also is an original sin of our country. And I've worked on treaty negotiations.
No, I didn't give up trying to find her part. I just wanted to skip to RFK's part. Everything is fake. I'm following you now. I thought you were going to show her bugging out. I don't know about this. Maybe you misunderstood me. I'm not aware of her bugging out. Does she bug out at any point in this video?
To get them and every form of scene, you know, they kind of, I've fought for.
Anyways, yeah, I don't know about any bugging out. Everything's fake, but okay. You guys get me. I just found this interesting. And I wanted to skip over that beginning part where I was gonna let the video play a bit. And then I heard her speaking, and it caused me, and it reminded me how confusing and how she says a whole bunch of nothing. And so I skipped to RFK's part. But here's some nails on a chalkboard for you.
Things that I'm saying, I'm almost finished. Reparations is lineage, should be lineage-based. And so long as we can prove that our ancestors were enslaved, that should be the emphasis, lineage-based reparations. Lineage-based reparations is a debt America owes. It is not you being altruistic or philanthropic. It is owed, and America must pay her debt. And I should say...
So you get it. You get it. I mean, that's some bugging out if I ever see... I think that's some bugging out, man. I think that's some bugging out. Yeah. I think we did find the bugging out, my friend. I think we, in fact, found the bugging out. You bugging, as they say. RFK... What else did I want to say about this? Something about this was interesting. Civil rights, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. What else? That's pretty much it on that. It was just a quote I happened upon. You might have found it interesting. Especially since he got brought up. It's not like it's February. What's going on, Nick? What's going on? It's Black History Month. You're a little late. All right, folks. 888-775-3773. Joel with... We got people who are... there's some are saying she's mildly attractive. Some are saying they want to marry her. I mean, Vicky Dillard. That was a good one on Jesse Lee Peterson's show. You might want to check it out. Vicky Dillard. Well, I remember it was she was like a meme for a while there. I know people enjoyed it. Because she's just so entertaining. She's just so entertaining. And she has this way about her.
I think I want to...
Like she just won't take no for an answer type of gal, you know? You know what I'm saying? Wait, hold up.
I think I want to say this to you, Reverend Jesse. I think that because you serve as such a powerful, powerful tool to our 464-year-old open enemy, I want to congratulate you on being nominated for what we call the Coon Award.
I got that. I have one right here. Look.
Everybody that's watching us, please.
Nice. Go check it out. It was fun. Vicky Dillard. So I got some more interesting things for you. Hopefully you'll find this interesting. Fascinating. About a couple of things here. How do we put this? How shall we put this? Here's how I'll do this. Let me show you. Here, how about a video break? A video break. You know what I didn't know? That the pioneers of robot-powered workforces are that's already happening.
the world's
Obviously, you already know about AI. You know about robotics. You know about the push. You know that they raised the minimum wage in California for fast food workers. They're not getting paid $20 an hour. They say, they're not going to be happy once they replace them with robots, though. That's what they say, right? I didn't know that a fully automated restaurant already exists. Touted Cali Express in Pasadena. Touted as world's first fully autonomous AI-powered restaurant. Pioneers, really. When you see this, you see This ain't no joke.
Look.
When you think of fine food and dream dinners, spread it on the plate. It's usually the human touch that pushes it into the realm of greatness. But this Pasadena restaurant is taking a different approach.
We are at Cali Express,
which is a restaurant in the Cali Express lane to the future, relying heavily on artificial intelligence and these guys, robots.
It's not a Terminator, it's not a Transformers, it's a...
They always gotta have the PR. Alana Abbott, whoever, I don't know what, did you go to school for this or something? But, Alana Abbott spoke PR for Miso Robotics here. It's not scary, folks. It's not going to kill you, okay? My name's Alana. Look at me. I'm just a cute girl. And this robot, this cute little robot isn't going to do anything.
Very friendly, helpful robot.
There's quite a few of them here. A big one that makes the hamburgers. Another one makes the fries. A couple of other robots, they set the holiday mood. Now, keeping them chugging along is AI, even letting you pay with your face.
So it scans your face?
If my fries aren't made with love, I don't want them. Don't worry, Joel. You're going to love hydraulic fluid just as much. I think maybe hydraulic fluid might make fries better than this love you're talking about.
Yes. You're going to tip the robots, huh?
I don't know if I'm going to tip this now.
Sounds pretty cool, right? But keep in mind, Hollywood doesn't see a very bright future for AI.
Shall we play a game?
The answer to that question should have been no. But the folks here at Cali Express see AI not only as a tasteful dining option, but an economical one as well.
They don't call in sick. They don't get drunk the night before work and come in with a hangover. They're a little bit more reliable.
And affordable.
This guy's, hey, are you judging your past workers? Are you just judging your work? They're drunk, they're just hungover from last night, and they get mad. Okay, Tony Lomolino, you might be right. In fact, you might be absolutely correct. In fact, everything about these robotic workers is just better. I mean, and that's it. I don't have any argument.
Hangover. They're a little bit more reliable.
And affordable. They wouldn't say how much the hamburger robot costs, but Flippy, the fry chef over here, costs about $4,000.
What? Are you joking me? It's over. That's cheap. That's easy. Easily make that back. Easily make that. What do you, McDonald's? Wait, hold up. I just didn't know they were that cheap.
Compare that to a human who California says will earn $20 an hour starting next year.
It's quite a bit cheaper than funding a few full-time staff.
Those savings, they say, also allowing them to use some really fancy meat in their burgers.
Wagyu? No.
But
what did you say? Wagyu? So we've been pronouncing it wrong? Hold on.
Funding a few full-time staff.
Those savings, they say, also allowing them to use some really fancy meat in their burgers.
Wagyu? No.
But
I wonder if that's a Wagyu mix, but whatever.
Don't worry, there will still be people working at Cali Express, adding that human touch.
There's your love.
There's still humans who will pack the food. Somebody to assemble, package them, and actually be the friendly face to the customer.
Now, the folks at Cali Express are hoping those customers, once they get a taste of their burgers,
that is a good burger,
will be saying this.
I'll be back.
Hello.
So funny, ABC. Look, I just didn't know that was happening. I just didn't know it was at that level. They were working it out. I knew it was coming. Maybe you found it interesting like I did. Fascinating. But then they said AI would come for the creative jobs last, but it actually did that first. That it would be expensive. It would be a barrier. Expense would be a barrier. $4,000. I'll do that any day instead of hiring a burger flipper. To be honest, it won't be or taste the same, says Joel. Oh, yeah. Wait, why do you say that? Are you playing around? Let me see. What are we saying here? Look, I thought you might find that interesting. Frederick, Los Angeles, what do you think?
Oh, yeah, it's getting bright. The future's so bright, I gotta wear shades.
Is that why you came in with shades? No, I'm just messing with you.
Yeah, hey, it's going down.
What is?
Capitalism. The American people going to say this is bad. You know what I'm saying?
Say what is bad?
The robots feeding them. You know what I'm saying? Eventually, they're going to force it down their throat, but just like the electric car's been forced down their throat. They got to take it. You know what I'm saying? They got to take it. It's capitalism. What are they going to do? They too broke to start their own business, to start building gas cars. They ain't smart enough to buy a business to go against the government. It's not going to work.
To go against the government?
Politics. Huh? Yeah, the government's for the electric cars.
And the robot workers and stuff. And you're saying going against them is that's not possible.
A man versus machine, baby.
Yeah, you know what? I think I don't want to move from this just quite yet. Don't forget what you're saying.
Right,
you know what I read about recently? About horses in America and how it was what city? I can't remember what city. It was a major city, but some time ago. How before the car was around, these cities, I think multiple cities, they had horses everywhere. And I think it was New York. I think I was reading about how, you know how some of those brownstone homes, the expensive ones that the steps go all the way up to the door?
Right.
They had them so high so that you could avoid stepping in horse manure. And the smell was horrible, and they started making all these laws to deal with it, and when the taxes, and they started taxing everyone, and that didn't work until the Henry Ford's automobile came around. I don't know. Maybe that's a totally non sequitur thing to say, but I just found that interesting. I these things, you can't stop them. I think it'd be silly to go around saying it's bad or good. I don't know what to say. They're making robots, and I think we just gotta adapt.
Henry Ford was the first process. He didn't make the first P-Ford. It was the assembly line. The assembly line created the idea for the robot. It's coming. The assembly line is what he got famous for. From start to finish, here we go, a solid product. Nobody knows how to build the whole car completely. You separate them, divide and conquer the market, where you can't go build another car, start your own business, because y'all don't even like each other. Y'all fighting over jobs already, and I keep y'all divided and paid less while we make all the profits and give each other bonuses at the top. And we'll bring a scab in and do your job if you form a union. So, hey, I love it.
You sound like you're mad at those CEOs. It sounds like you're making a lot of assumptions here.
Amazon, they doing what we expect them to do. It's the people that's going to have to stand up against it to say, hey, you know what? You're going to have to pay us to watch these power lines outside, or somebody's going to be turning them down soon. Do you want to give us insurance on infrastructure now? Because robots don't run off of just, you know what I'm saying, no electricity. So now you're going to have to keep up infrastructure.
But why are you all into this,
poor
though?
People. No, I'm saying this guy's, man, it's eventually like.
Yeah, but why are you all into this, though?
I'm not. I'm international.
It sounds like it's like, I imagine you, Frederick, I just imagine a picture of you standing outside of a giant Amazon tower, and you're like, you CEOs giving each other, you're like with a fist in the air, like, you CEOs giving each other raises and stuff. And I'm just like, you see that picture makes no sense. Like, maybe if you were actually scored by Amazon and you had an actual thing, but what are you saying here? Help me understand the point. I think the downfall of capitalism. I don't think you're wrong about the downfall of capitalism, but I think it has to do with like morality and loss of values.
It's not me personally. Know it's not me. Right. Come on. It's not about my position. It's about the people that don't see what they're walking into. When they done believed in this dollar that's about to crumble.
And why do you think it's crumbling?
Because BRIC is rolling out their currency. No,
I knew you were going to say that. That's not why. That's just competition. You're just describing competition. You're just describing competition is all you're describing. No, they've lost. They don't have the same stock that made the value that used to exist.
No, we don't
the same
have the
people,
same power
the same
that can put
stock, the
sanctions.
same
We don't
minds,
have-
the
listen,
same elite that made that value that you're talking
don't have
about
the
don't
same
exist
power to
anymore.
put
As
sanctions
what
on
I think is what
countries.
I think.
No, it's wrong because we don't have the same power to put sanctions on countries. They can survive with regardless of our sanctions if other countries are dealing with them without the dollar. So if we can put sanctions on countries and it don't do no harm and they can do better business around it, they saying you can't threaten us with trying to freeze our money no more. We're making our own money to trade with other countries that
Who's doing that?
Scared of your threat. Who?
Who's doing that?
India,
Russia?
China,
You're talking about BRICS.
Brazil.
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia, hell yeah, they all putting their money together about the. Okay,
So help me
our dollars. That's not going to be traded universally like it's always been. Number one,
Now-
it's going to be like depleted.
Now, over a number of calls with you, I think I've gathered that something you're trying to say here, but for some reason you keep withholding.
Hey,
you keep holding
what
the
happened
keys.
to True Social Stock?
Wait, what? Hold up, Frederick. You're
Okay,
just completely
go ahead.
going somewhere else. But over a number of calls that I've received from you, I've come to understand that it sounds like you're getting at something here. But you
It's
still,
God's
but you don't
plan.
want to tell us. You don't want to. You're holding the.
It's God's plan.
You're
I
holding.
did tell you. I tell you all the
You're being
time.
stingy with the final chapter here that might save us. But I wonder about that.
No.
But you're
it's
saying.
God's plan.
Say again.
It's God's plan. I don't know what's going to happen. Every day I turn on the news, I see something different. I'm like, God, hey.
Right, but I was
we
trying to
came
say
up
something.
With the bail money? God,
No,
let
hold
you
on,
come
Frederick.
up
I'm trying to
with
say
the bail
something.
money?
So I was just saying that over a number of calls, there's this theory I've gathered that you have, and you won't tell me what you mean. But let's see if we could do so. Let's see if we could do it here. I don't know why the mystery, but you're saying this. I've gathered there you have this theory about BRICS and about the dollar and about this. And I'm asking you because it might be true. So help me understand once and for all. Maybe you can help me. Maybe you can wake me up as a brother here, Frederick.
Okay.
Help me understand. So it sounds like you have this theory that they got this currency, they're working together over there, BRICS, and that America and the West see BRICS and this currency. They're trying to work out their own stuff over there without our help or without our involvement or meddling, if you will. You're saying this is a threat to them, and that's why they want to fight. That's why they want to have a war. And your proof is.
Our proof is that when I started telling
yeah, I'll let you speak on this.
I'm
trying to say.
I bought gold at $1,900 an ounce. Now gold in the last few months done risen up to $2,200, and that's what BRICS is backing its money by. Americans investing in gold.
Is that true?
Costco is selling gold. Hey, if you don't want to
Is
believe me,
BRICS
y'all would have made
BRICS backed by gold?
Y'all would have made over $280 an ounce if you.
It's time to put your money in gold. You're telling me multiple nations.
Listen.
You're telling me multiple nations are backing their economies with gold?
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Why are you making noises? Why are you pujando?
Because
why are you pujando?
You want to know?
No. But when you I don't know how to say that in English, but when you make that noise, it means you're being impatient. It means you're not showing me love. You're like
you only took a little bit of the
you're putting out all your frustration, and instead of hold on, I'm making a different point now. You're not showing love.
I know, and that's what I'm talking about. Go ahead.
And you're all like, why are you doing that?
Because you take a little bit of the carrot and run, and then now you got everybody else eating off the little bit of the carrot.
What carrot?
Up gold, and you didn't even hear the whole story. You just got so excited about the little information.
I can't make a little joke. I can't.
On that piece.
No, you think I'm on something. You think it's this whole carrot thing. You see, you've made up this whole thing.
Listen,
all I was doing was making a joke, Frederick. All I was doing was making a little joke. I was in.
No, you asked me a question. You say you let me talk, but then you interrupted.
No. Hold on. I was just making a little joke. I was saying, wait, you're telling me nations are backing gold, and then you got mad.
No, you lose. You let a person lose their train of thought after they start speaking.
Don't do that, man.
You did that.
No, don't go because don't you see that's like showing like you're like showing the world. You're showing the world that you have frustration, and when you have frustration, it means you have no love.
No, it's not. It's like
that's what it means.
Tell me what level of education I'm speaking to.
Don't you realize that when you show your frustration that you can't even control it, you're showing the world that you have frustration. It means you have no love. It means you have no love.
That's not. No, that's a disappointment. That's a sound of disappointment.
Oh, okay.
Because I thought you was more educated to be able to hold a conversation, but when you jump in like that and take a little bits of carrot, I know that you're really.
But you're making some crazy conclusion, you've made some conspiracy, I'm doing something with this gold comment, and I'm trying to lead some people. So I was just saying, isn't it kind of funny that nations want to? If anything, I'm adding to what you're saying. Don't you see how I'm adding to what you're saying?
45 seconds. I'll let you talk for 45 seconds.
I get to talk for 45. I get to talk in many ways, and I get to make jokes. And look at all the time I give you, man. I give you so much time, man. So don't do that.
Do you really?
Of course, you call me any day you want. Look, we're still 10 minutes in, and I have another call on hold, and I'm still doing this with you.
If this
you
was
call
a
me
chess
so
board,
much,
and
I can't make a joke.
Board, you know how chess works?
How does what work?
Time if this was a chess board. Yeah, how you keep time, and then you talk, I talk, you talk, you talk. You would have ran out of time a long time ago. And I have so much time on the board.
I do that with you all the time, man. You talk, I talk, you talk, I talk. But every now and then, as you know me, because I'm I make jokes and stuff, I might jump in and say, wait, a nation is putting their money behind gold?
No
time to invest in it. Hey, that might happen sometimes, Frederick. Sorry.
Worse than Patui.
That's just in your head, though. Folks, I hope you understand. Yeah. I hope you see this. I hope you see people just making stuff up in their heads. You got to be careful with that.
Yeah.
Frederick.
I'm just saying, it's all good.
Frederick.
Invest your money wisely because our dollar is not strong. It's all a dream. You believe in it.
Can you email me?
Tell you what.
Can you email me? radio@jesseLeePeterson.com so we could talk about.
Email you what?
So we could talk about. This is a totally different thing, man. But we talked on Sunday. You want? And I've been wondering about that since, and I don't know. I've been wanting to contact you about that, folks. I don't want to put your business out there, but we're talking about buying shirts. It's not a big deal.
Can I say her name?
Say again.
Can I say her name? She's probably watching.
Sure. Yeah, it's not a big deal. I don't think.
Amanda Johnson, if you're out there, call in to the Hank radio.
Call the office. No, call the office. 782.
Pick out your shirt. It's paid for, and they'll mail it to you. Give them your address.
323-782-1980. Call the office.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I didn't want to forget that, man.
Yeah, I appreciate that. But
right,
yeah, I will email you too.
So that I don't forget.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Fred.
What is it? Tell me it again. It's on the screen, right?
radio@JesseLeePeterson.com. That's JESSE.
Yeah, I got it. Radio@JesseLeePeterson.com. Gotcha.
All right.
All righty. You have a great day, man.
Always. Thank you, sir. Call me again.
Yep, later.
And we got one more call. Rick, Hampton, Virginia. You're on the air, sir.
My brother Nick, what's going on with you?
Hold on, Rick. Hold on.
Okay.
Go ahead. All is well, sir.
Man, she was good to hear from y'all while I'm driving to Tampa, Florida for a little mini vacation, man. So I said, let me get on in here and make a phone call to my brother's show. So I just want to talk about Vicky Diller. She's with Phil Scott. Jesse has interviewed them both.
Yes.
And all they spend most of their show talking about white supremacy.
Yeah.
Yes, man. White supremacy. Y'all, they making laws that's hurting blacks, but yet they don't realize the blacks are voting for them same liberals over and over and over. So they are oppressing themselves. If they would spend more time, telling blacks about investing, how to own property, how to have strong families, you'd be surprised. They'd be surprised how fast their ratings would go up. But they spend half the show talking about white supremacy. It seemed like from the public school system, the colleges, they have a chokehold on the black community. And urban radio. Because they know if they continue to keep blacks angry, they can sell their books, they'll come to the events, and they'll keep them wealthy and empowered. You see,
they're stuck, man. They're stuck with the same story, keeping everyone listening stuck.
Yeah,
and the people listening want to be stuck. It's crazy.
Yep. Just when you're angry, you can tell anybody anything.
Absolutely, Rick.
Yeah, yeah. So
interesting what you're saying about you think they'd actually be more popular if they were putting out like helpful things like how to invest. And, yeah.
Look at y'all shows. Y'all shows are getting popular.
Thank you for that. Yeah,
if y'all look at all y'all followers, it is growing.
I think people do find a lot of help from Jesse, sincerely, and I think you're right. As shocking some things may be, I mean, I think what people really see is, in my opinion, I think the truth is exciting. Like I heard once, the truth is exciting, and it helps. It really does.
It means this information y'all put out will help people if they apply it to their everyday life.
Big time.
And like I said, most and then I'm glad we have a lot of conservative blacks on here too, like Brian ABL, Anthony Brian Logan. You have Brandon Tatum.
I know those conservative guys right on.
Yep. You got even got a biblical conservative that's on there. He's from Alabama, and he does a great job. And
careful with all the name dropping.
We have a lot of
careful with all the back-to-back name dropping.
Yeah,
I mean, we know these guys, but it's just not. It's not very cool. I don't think it's very couth. Or maybe I'm.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No problem, Rick. Okay.
I'm just saying that you do have some conservatives putting out great information, and
it helps,
but for the most
as opposed to hurt.
And most blacks, they put out this white supremacy. I mean, that's all white supremacy. They look like they're making laws to oppress blacks, but then again, blacks are oppressing themselves by voting them in, letting them make a career.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true. It's like so crazy.
Yeah, they vote them in. Look at Chicago. They got rid of Mayor Lightfoot and got it and voted for somebody that's 100 times worse than she is.
Right. It's a lack of principles. Like there's no principled thinking in it. If I don't know how else to put it, but
it's all about color.
It's color. Yep.
Yeah. It's not about policy. Okay, what policy you bringing?
Right. What are you saying, and do you mean it?
Right.
And why? What reason do I have to? Yeah, I'm following, man. Totally.
In my opinion, most black politicians, all they talk about, hey, I grew up in the ghetto. I didn't have no health insurance. That's their campaign message. and blacks vote them in because they're black. They have no kind of vision for the city or whatever they're running for. Okay, what are you going to do about tax? What are you going to do to draw businesses in? What are you going to do about the roads, infrastructure? I mean, what are you going to do about cleaning the city up? All that stuff, Are you going to strengthen the police force, the fire department? Are they going to get pay raises? There's plenty you can do in a city, besides telling them you ain't got no insurance and you grew up poor. That's no campaign message.
Truly. It's like, can we start? Yeah, one place to start is how about just not shooting yourself in the foot. How about don't just let out criminals? Maybe that's one place to start. Rick, it's an absolute pleasure as always. We're actually over time here.
Yeah. Oh man, my fault, man.
No problem,
well,
no problem.
Love you guys, man. I love y'all show. Keep up the good work, my brother.
Thank you, sir. Call me again.
Yes, sir. Will do.
I'm being a little loosey-goosey. There's no show after me, but I should be a little better on that since obviously there will be. The Bond Network is going up, and it's thanks to all of you. Appreciate your super chats and everything for always supporting. C-Sal, thank you for the super chat. Says, amazing show, Nico. The snakes keep calling and watching, but all we do is win, baby. All we do is win, no matter what. Thank you, C-Sal. Appreciate that. Thank you for the support. We got all that support. Just doing housekeeping here, making sure everything is good, because we're pretty much there, folks. We're, in fact, overtime. That's the show. Joel Friday is asking, Nick, you telling me a robot going to make better gumbo than than my grandma? What I'm saying, Joel, is once you eat that robot's gumbo, you're going to be calling it grandma. That's what I'm saying. Folks, that's the show. I do appreciate it. I will see y'all tomorrow for more American Anchor Baby, the Jesse Lee Peterson Show, the Hake Report, Joel Friday, and, of course, American Anchor Baby. Back at noon Pacific time. Folks, that's it for me. I shall see y'all tomorrow. Take care.